Talk to Isabel Oakeshott, who I think is right here with us. Isabel, very good morning to you.
Morning. That was a fascinating interview, Mike. So much to kind of pick out of it, wasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, I would say in terms of a top line, very interesting that Elon Musk's father is still pretty clear that his son will be prepared to donate a significant sum to the Reform Party, you know, notwithstanding who is or isn't leader. And to be clear, there's no question of Nigel going anywhere.
No.
So, and I think anyone who understands UK politics would know that Nigel isn't going to be going anywhere.
Right.
So I thought that was very significant. I think that, you know, and I say this with every respect for Musk Senior and Musk Junior, I don't think they quite understand how problematic Tommy Robinson is as a character in terms of his, you know, very lengthy rap sheet.
Yeah.
You know, this is not someone who's just a nice lad called Tommy. I know the name Tommy makes him sound like he's a sort of sympathetic, nice character. But that isn't the case. We know this, and you know, I heard you pushing Mr. Musk quite hard on that. So it seems that all of this so-called rift is born out of the Musk thinking that reform needs to be, you know, a little bit more sympathetic towards Tommy Robinson, more supportive. And that just can't happen because he's not the character that they think he is.
No, quite. And also, I think Reform are doing rather well, thank you very much, on their own. And I said to Richard Tice when he was here, and also to other guests this morning, you know, Elon Musk is, of course, a very wealthy man. He's a very influential figure, but he's not the only wealthy man in Reform's kind of eyesights, if you like. I mean, they've got Nick Candy on board now. He's a very wealthy guy. He knows a lot of other wealthy people. If Elon Musk didn't give them any money, and it's sounds like you say that he probably will anyway, there's plenty of other people that can give them money, and Nigel Farage and Richard Tice have stewarded the Reform Party pretty well, I would say, over the last 2 years.
Well, Reform is absolutely brilliant at gathering support and doing well in elections despite having basically very little money at all. You know, the party is expert at making a huge amount out of a very, very modest budget. You know, it's never had millions of pounds to spend except during the Brexit campaign, when, of course, there were huge donations from Brexit supporters. But in recent years, and including in the run-up to the last election, you know, everything's been done on a shoestring. So that holds no real fear for the party leadership. And in any case, as you say, that wouldn't happen because the money is really coming in quite a significant way. I mean, virtually not a week goes past that I don't get some message from somebody saying, oh, well, I know someone who wants to give money, and often these are, you know, Tory donors or people connected to former Tory donors who want to find a way in to be part of the action. So I don't think Reform in any way would, I mean, which party would ever say we don't want a multi-million pound or dollar donation? I'm sure Reform will be delighted with that. But it's not as if that's mission critical.
No, exactly right. And the slow and steady growth of the party is also important. And I've certainly said this throughout the course of the show this morning. The reaction from our audience and from most of the people that I would know here who vote Reform, who listen to this show and to watch Talk, are all very much in support of what Nigel's done. And they've actually said it makes him look like a stronger leader, actually, to not kowtow to what Elon Musk is saying, and to say, look, thanks very much indeed. We're still friends, but, you know, I don't agree with you.
Yes, I thought it was, I was sort of quite amused by Musk Senior's suggestion that Nigel Farage isn't strong enough. I mean, good luck finding another stronger politician in the UK. You know, you can level many a criticism at Nigel Farage, but not being strong is not a criticism I think holds any water whatsoever. You know, to get where he is with all the brickbats, almost literally, that have been hurled at him, takes tremendous strength. And I think that you're right. I was very curious to see what would the headlines look like in today's papers, you know, across the board. You know, who's going to, of course, the left are going to make absolute merry with this criticism from the world's richest man. But in fact, the coverage is quite positive in many outlets. In fact, you know, this is Farage showing that he does have what it takes to lead a serious opposition party potentially into government. Because look, it's very easy to pander to a very niche vote on the far right, but that's not what reform is about.
No, it's not. And also, it's a broader church than that. And similarly, some of the things that Elon Musk has been saying, whether we don't like what Keir Starmer's done, I don't particularly like Jess Phillips, some of the things that he said are difficult politically to defend. I'm not saying I don't agree with them. I'm not saying that Nigel Farage doesn't agree with them. But he said yesterday to Laura Kuenssberg, look, you know, I don't have to agree with everything he says, but he's not going to be drawn on the language, but that would have been a problem going forward if this hadn't happened, because he would have kept getting asked that question, you know, do you disavow this statement by Elon Musk as he gets more and more kind of outrageous?
Yes, and this is the thing with the super rich, and even it doesn't even mean that you have to be the richest man in the world. You know, the super rich are basically able to say and do whatever they like with very little consequences. So I'm sure that Mr. Musk will continue saying lots of interesting and provocative things, some of which Reform's leadership will agree with, and quite possibly quite a lot of it they won't. And, you know, in due course, perhaps, that he'll have his tensions with Donald Trump, you know, because he just clearly has the luxury and the platforms to say whatever is in his head at any particular time. And this is, I suppose, a warning about how close you get to people who are, you know, I guess, on the other side of the world and looking at politics from a very different vantage point to where we are looking at them here in the UK. And there is no doubt that this grooming scandal, which has been the backdrop to this controversy, is something that has united people across the political divide in absolute outrage. And the idea that Reform isn't being strong enough in condemning what happened and demanding in the loudest way possible that there is a full public inquiry is quite unreasonable, I think. And Reform will go on pushing very hard for that, because this was a truly breathtaking scandal, which I understand to some extent is still going on all these years on.
And I think it's big enough that it could actually bring down the government, because they're so closely aligned to what happened all those years ago in many, many Labour constituencies and many, many Labour councils. And so I think there's a massive problem here for Keir Starmer. And let's just finish with him. He returns from his tobogganing holiday in Madeira, where the public were booing at him, where he couldn't get anything right, even with a few days off. He's come back to find that the Labour government now has its worst ever popularity rating ever, minus 45%. Good start to the year.
I mean, parties like Reform want, you know, for their own self-interest, want Keir Starmer to be where he is for as long as possible. But for the sake of the country, this man is a total disaster. I have never observed in 20 years plus of political reporting a more catastrophic Prime Minister than Keir Starmer. I really laughed when Elon Musk's father called him this Starmer character. That's what he is. Look at him. He just looks like a complete muppet. He's doing terrible things to our country, and I don't think he's going to last much more than a year. Frankly, it may be less than that. The Labour Party are many things, but they're not politically that stupid as to not realise this guy is heading them over the cliff edge.
Yeah. No, I think that's absolutely right. Isabel, good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Isabel Oakeshott, Talk's international editor there, on what her thoughts were on Errol Musk, Elon's dad, who just spoke to us there about his view that possibly his son just wants Nigel Farage to buck up his ideas a bit.